Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant editions of John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose on Amazon.com today. Travis King, who I call Private Pookie, is in a lot of trouble now that he's back in the United States. Now, Travis King was the private second class who was sent to South Korea, and after being on leave, he got into a fight in a South Korean nightclub, and as he got arrested for that fight, he allegedly assaulted several South Korean police officers, and as he was being put into a police car, damaged the vehicle and wound up being locked up for 43 days inside of a South Korean jail. And after being released from the South Korean jail, he was given back to U.S. military custody and was going to be sent back to the United States to deal with criminal charges in a military court. And as he was being escorted to the airport by U.S. military officials, he decided to go on a tour of the demilitarized zone between North Korea and South Korea. And that's when Travis King decided to participate in what I believe to be a Pookie move and decided to run across the border into North Korea, believing if he ran across the border into North Korea, he could find asylum in the nation of one of America's greatest enemies. Now, as Travis King went into North Korea, he was quickly grabbed by military officials in North Korea and detained by North Korean military officials. And as he was looking to try to get asylum in North Korea, this is where the Pyongyang officials went out here and released one statement saying that Travis King was coming to North Korea to try to get away from racism he experienced in the military. And after they made this statement passively to make it look like they were actually looking to give Travis King asylum, aggressively they took a shot at Travis King by calling him an intruder in the same public relations release. Now, as this was going on, the Biden administration was making the claim they were trying to get Travis King back, but I don't really believe that the Biden administration was making any sort of serious negotiations for Travis King's release. And what happened was, as this was going on, North Korea went on, as they were calling Travis King an intruder, went on to make the statement that Travis King was considered to be a low-value asset due to his alleged low ranking, but I really do believe it was his race that had a major consideration as related to him being considered a low-value asset by North Korea, because a white soldier back in the 60s was allowed to stay in the country until he died, and the North Koreans basically saw Travis King as a Pookie that they wanted to ship back to the Americans faster than an Amazon return. And within less than 2 months, Travis King was on a plane back to China when sent to the U.S. and now is back in custody of the United States, where he is now dealing with a whole host of charges as related to military court, including desertion and a charge of possession of child pornography and a charge of solicitation of child pornography. Now, I was shocked regarding the charge of child pornography because that charge basically is one that was not presented in the original report regarding Travis King, and I was also further shocked when I heard the whole story of an allegation of Travis King allegedly soliciting a minor on Snapchat, allegedly asking them to make child pornography. And these charges just came out of nowhere and were ones that I believe are being made to demonize Travis King as some sort of criminal predator by the military. And I don't know if these charges are ones that could be substantiated, but when it comes to these kinds of charges, there's usually a paper trail online as related to those kinds of charges. So this whole situation is a troubling one for Travis King, and it's one that he basically wound up in due to the dysfunctional way he was raised as related to growing up. Now, Travis King was one of these males. He saw his brother in the police department, and he saw another family member in the military, and thought that the military would be a good place for him. Unfortunately, he did not get any sort of guidance on manhood, and because he didn't get that guidance on manhood from his father or his grandfather, what happened was Travis King tried to go into a place like the military, not understanding the written and unwritten social rules that men need to know in order to navigate life in an environment like the military. Now, Travis King, basically, as he was in the military as a private second class, he was assigned to South Korea. And as he was assigned to South Korea, he basically thought that going to South Korea was like going to America, not understanding that when you're in another country, you have to follow the rules of that country when you're off base, and you have to follow the laws of that country when you're off base. So that was one of the mistakes that Travis King made regarding being in the military and traveling overseas. The other mistake that he made was not understanding the system of white supremacy. Now, in the system of white supremacy, a black man is behind enemy lines when he is in any sort of work environment. And when he's across the globe in another country, he is also further behind enemy lines because he is not only behind the enemy lines of working for the institution he's working for, he is also behind the enemy lines of a country that he's in. And what Travis King didn't understand was he was in serious danger because he was not only behind the enemy lines of the U.S. military, he was also behind the enemy lines of South Korea in the global system of white supremacy. And because Travis King didn't know this, what he did was think that going to the nightclub in South Korea was like going to the nightclubs in America. And as he went to the nightclubs in South Korea, he got into it with one of the dudes at that club, got into a fight, then as he was being arrested, got into it with the police, not understanding that if you go and get arrested as a member of the military, you're not only dealing with criminal charges in that country, you are also dealing with criminal charges as related to the U.S. military, and that's double charges. And that's where Travis King basically made this biggest mistake. Again, not knowing how to move in a country, and also not knowing that when he signed up for the U.S. military, he was basically property of the United States, and that is clearly stated in the Constitution. And as property of the United States, they actually had complete jurisdiction over him. And as he was going out here thinking that he had his own autonomy as he was in this situation, he thought he could run to North Korea for asylum, but not understanding in the global system of white supremacy what Kim Jong-un looked to do with Travis King was he never saw him as a person. No, he saw him as property, and he saw him as property of the United States, no different than a slave who was on the plantation. And because they didn't see any value in that property, what they did was look to go out here and give that property back to the U.S. government because that what they believed that property had no value. And that's what happened to Travis King that led to his immediate him being returned to the United States. And this entire incident is one that the United States is trying to minimize because they know that it's one situation that really is an embarrassment for them, not only because of Travis King's alleged actions, but it is also an embarrassment to the U.S. military because this entire situation shows how little regard they have for black men. And this whole situation is one that the U.S. military is looking to go out here and make it look like they're going to punish Travis King. But if they do this, this will eventually do damage to the entire U.S. military's campaign to find recruits to become soldiers. Because the U.S. military right now has a major shortfall as related to trying to find Americans to recruit to become soldiers, and with that shortage of recruits, they cannot find qualified individuals, and that's one of the reasons why they went out here and allowed Travis King to become a member of the military, because in other cases, when they saw individuals like this who had serious issues, and some claim he has mental health issues, they would have Section 8'd him and said he was unfit for duty. But because of the shortage of soldiers, what they did was allow Travis King to become a soldier. And what happened with Travis King, because of his dysfunctional upbringing, is that he wound up acting impulsively, and as related to that incident at the nightclub, and then exacerbated things when he got into trouble with U.S. authorities and Korean authorities. And this is what led to him wanting to run to North Korea for asylum. And as he ran to North Korea for asylum, it just exposed a chink in the U.S. military's armor as related to fitness of duty of soldiers. And it really showed a chink in the armor because, again, here is a member of the military not looking to go out here and take a punishment, but looking to run across enemy lines. And if this was an individual who was just basically white, they would have basically taken that individual in, and that would have been, again, a major embarrassment to the military. But this whole situation with this Travis King basically embarrasses the United States, and also makes it a situation where people will get discouraged, because if Travis King is not only tried for these crimes in the military court and federal court, because with child pornography, these are federal criminal charges, we're looking at an individual who possibly will be going to prison, possibly for the rest of his life, on the child pornography charges alone, and will be someone who will now be going from being a private second class to being a punk first class inside of a federal penitentiary, where he will be traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light tea, packets of Taster's Choice coffee, snack pack puddings, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand lemon cookies, Fritos chips, and peppermint balls. I mean, this is the fate of Travis King, Private Pookie, because he went out here and did some dumb stuff. But the people who will feel it more are the people in the military, because this entire case is one that would discourage any individual from wanting to go out here and be a part of the military. Yes, Travis King was one who was doing some dumb stuff in South Korea, because, again, he was not somebody who had been given guidance, but the stuff that was done that as related to his possible punishment could lead to the discouragement of black men going out here and being soldiers, because he was not treated as a person as related to this whole situation by either country, and was just basically treated as property by America and not seen as a person overall. No, what they saw him was as property, and because the people were seen as property, it's going to make a lot of black men think twice before they go out here and sign up for service. So this entire incident with Travis King is one that is one that really is one bad big black eye for the military, because it really shows that the sergeants and recruiters are not really doing their job in vetting these individuals, because it's clear to me that Travis King basically was not fit for duty, and because he wasn't fit for duty, he should have never been put into service, and he shouldn't have been put into service because he just did not know how to function as a soldier when he was off duty. Because when you're off duty as a soldier, you have to understand that, again, as a property of the United States, you have to watch where you're going, and as a black man, moreover, you have to watch what you're doing, because in the system of white supremacy that's global, they want to demonize you as the bad guy. They want to demonize you as the villain of the story. And that's what was done by the North Koreans, who again demonized Travis King. Yes, they went out here and put up the sympathetic passive-aggressive response by saying passively he's trying to leave the racism of the United States, but aggressively they called him a intruder, and as they called him an intruder, they said he was a low value asset to them, meaning that they didn't value him as related to their idealized system of government, because according to the communist system of North Korea, all men are equal, but we clearly see that all men aren't equal, because when you're a heterosexual black man, you are not seen as a person that has value. When you're a heterosexual black man, you are not seen as anybody who is a human being, like the North Koreans claim they see all people as under their communist system. And when it comes to the American system, they don't see a black soldier as a person. No, in both systems, they both basically see the black man the same way, and that is the main thing that would discourage any black person from wanting to, again, do military service at this point, because you're not seen as a person as related to any of these situations. You're just seen as property, and as property, it's just no different than a slave on the plantation. Now, if you want to learn how to avoid winding and getting jammed up like Private Pookie, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also pick up The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashware's The iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to pick up some of the other men's issues books that I have written, like Stop Simpin', Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, Manginas, The Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, and Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and The Woman Crisis. You can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashware's The iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Cancel Vacation. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a social justice, social media mob looking to cancel her in this all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Cancel Vacation in paperback and e-readers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.